Good evening, friends, and welcome to our nightly meditation practice. As we do each night, I'll begin the practice by paying homage to the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Again, thank you for joining me tonight. I'm going to do something a little bit different tonight. I have signed up and I'm taking a class through Buddha Dharma University on the Perfect Enlightenment Sutra, which is a Mahayana sutra about attaining a perfect enlightenment. And so my reading assignment this week is the first two sections. The section about Manjushri Bodhisattva and then Samantabhadra Bodhisattva. And I think I want to share those with you. So I'm going to read those. And then perhaps as this course progresses, we'll finish the whole sutra together. And maybe it's something that we can all learn and grow from. I'll be happy to share with you perhaps later. I'll read it tonight. Maybe tomorrow night we can discuss a little bit of it. We'll go through this along with my course this year. I think it's a good opportunity to have something to meditate on and have that goal of someday attaining a perfect enlightenment. So anyway, so that's what I've decided to do tonight. And as a side note, Zoom is a wonderful program on a desktop. It is so substandard on this Google Chrome book that I have. It's surprising that Zoom can't put out a better product. It is really, when I use it on my Linux desktop, it has all the features I could ask for. Makes it easy to share PDFs and photos and documents and broadcast straight to YouTube or Facebook and all kinds of things. And this, I am lucky to be able to share a picture and broadcast to YouTube Live. So I'm making the most of it, but that's why you've seen a real change in the format and quality of my broadcast, because I switched to this Google Chromebook because I'm going to be traveling soon, and this is just easy for me to take than bringing around a Linux box. Not sure if I'd have a monitor wherever I needed to go, etc. This is much lighter and easy to carry, so I need to learn to use it better. So that's my goal, but right now it is limited in its abilities compared to a desktop unit. Anyway, having said that, we take things as they are, and it's just the way it is. So I accept that. So here we go. This is the Perfect Enlightenment Sutra. And I'll just begin with the convocation, which is quite short, and then we'll continue to the Manjushri Bodhisattva part at least. Thus have I heard, one time, the Bhagawan entered the supreme mundane, great, radiant, bright repository in the exactly attained samadhi where all Tathagatas abide in radiant splendor. This is the ground of pure enlightenment of sentient beings, the equal, original reality where body and mind are completely erased. He completely filled the 10 directions with the accordance and non-duality, and in this non-dual state manifested all pure lands. He was with 100,000 great bodhisattva mahasattvas. Those who served as leaders of the assembly were named Manjushri Bodhisattva, Samantabhadra Bodhisattva, Universal Vision Bodhisattva, Vajragarbha Bodhisattva, Maitreya Bodhisattva, pure wisdom Bodhisattva, power and virtue unhindered Bodhisattva, voice of discernment Bodhisattva, purifier of all karmic hindrances Bodhisattva, universal enlightenment Bodhisattva, perfect enlightenment Bodhisattva, and most excellent of worthies Bodhisattva. With their retinues, all entered into the same samadhi as the Tathagata at this assembly of the equal Dharma. Manjushri Bodhisattva then arose from his seat in the great assembly. He bowed his head to the Buddha's feet and circumambulated him 3 times to the right. He then knelt down with his hands clasped and addressed the Buddha, saying, "Greatly compassionate, world-honored one, please, for all of us members of this assembly who have come for your Dharma, teach us about the reality Dharma, practice of the Tathagata's originally arisen pure causal stage. Also, please teach the Bodhisattvas to arise pure mind in the great vehicle and become distantly removed from all diseases, such that they can cause the future sentient beings of the degenerate age who seek the great vehicle not to fall into mistaken views." Having said this, he prostrated to the ground. He asked this question 3 times in succession. Then the world-honored one, speaking to Manjushri Bodhisattva, said, "Excellent, excellent. Good son, you have skillfully asked on behalf of the Bodhisattvas about the reality practice of the causal stage of the Tathagata, and have caused all the Bodhisattvas to arouse the pure mind in the great vehicle. You have also caused all sentient beings of the degenerate age who seek the great vehicle to gain correct abiding such that they do not fall into erroneous views. Now listen well, and I shall explain for you." Manjushri Bodhisattva received the teaching with reverence and joy. All those in the great assembly became silent and listened. "Good sons, the unsurpassed king of the Dharma possesses the great Dharani entrance. It is called perfect enlightenment. From its manifested all purity, suchness, Bodhi, Nirvana, and the Paramitas, which teach Bodhisattvas. All Tathagatas, in their originally arisen causal stage, rely on the perfect illumination of the attributes of pure enlightenment to permanently sever ignorance and directly accomplish the Buddha way. What is ignorance? Good sons, all sentient beings fall into various inverted views without beginning. Just like a distorted person who confuses the 4 directions, they mistakenly take the 4 elements as attributes of their bodies, and the conditioned shadows of the 6 objects as the attributes of their mind. It is just like when our eyes are diseased and we see flowers in the sky or a second moon. Good sons, the sky actually has no flowers. They are the false attachment of a diseased person, and because of this false attachment, not only are we confused about the self-nature of the sky, we are also mixed up about the place where real flowers come from. From this, there is the falsely existent transmigration through life and death. Therefore, it is called ignorance. Good sons, this ignorance actually lacks substance. It is like a man who is dreaming. At the time of the dream, there is no non-existence, but when he awakens, he finds that there is nothing for him to hold on to. Similarly, when the sky flowers disappear from the sky, you cannot say that there is a definite point of their disappearance. Why? Because there is no point from which they arose. All sentient beings falsely perceive arising and ceasing within the unarisen. Therefore, they say that there is transmigration through life and death. Good sons, in the practice of perfect enlightenment of the causal stage of the Tathagata, one understands these sky flowers. Thus, there is no transmigration, nor body-mind to undergo life and death. But they are not caused to be non-existent. It is because they lack original nature. Now, this prior awareness is in itself void, like empty space. Yet since this awareness that perceives it to be like empty space is none other than the appearance of sky flowers, you also cannot say that there is no nature of awareness. Existence and non-existence, both being dispelled, is called according with pure enlightenment. Why? Because its nature is completely empty, because it is eternally changeless. because there is neither arising nor ceasing within the matrix of the Tathagata, and because there are no fixed points of view. Like the nature of the reality realm, it is totally complete and perfect, pervading the 10 directions. Therefore, it is called the reality practice of the causal stage. Bodhisattvas, relying upon it, arouse their pure mind within the Mahayana. Sentient beings of the degenerate age who practice relying on this will not fall into erroneous views. Then the world-honored one, wanting to restate the gist of this, spoke a verse. He said, Manjushri, you should know, all Tathagatas, from their originally arisen causal stage, penetrate ignorance. Within the enlightened wisdom, knowing it to be like sky flowers, they are able to escape transmigration. It is like the man in the dream who has nothing to grasp upon awakening. Awareness is like space, equal, changeless. Enlightenment pervading the worlds of the 10 directions is none other than the attainment of the Buddha way. All illusions cease at no place, and in accomplishing the way, there is nothing attained. That's because the original nature is complete, perfect. In it, bodhisattvas are able to produce bodhicitta. All sentient beings of the degenerate age practicing this will avoid erroneous views. And then the Samantabhra Bodhisattva portion. Then Samantabhra Bodhisattva rose from his seat in the great assembly. He bowed to the Buddha's feet and circumambulated him 3 times to the right. He knelt down with his hands clasped and said to the Buddha, Greatly compassionate world-honored one, I would like to ask for all the bodhisattvas at this assembly and for the sentient beings of the degenerate age who are practicing Mahayana. Please reveal the expedient stages of practice and let them hear of this pure realm of perfect enlightenment. How should we practice? World-honored one, if these sentient beings know about illusion and that body and mind are also illusion, how can they remedy illusion using illusion? If all illusory natures are completely annihilated, then there is no mind. Who is going to carry out the practice? Moreover, based on this, how can you teach the practice of illusion? If all sentient beings originally do not practice, they will remain forever trapped within the illusion of life and death. Not having penetrated the realm of the illusory, how will they liberate the mind that is trapped in false conceptualization? I implore you on behalf of all the bodhisattvas at this assembly, as well as for all sentient beings of the degenerate age, to teach the gradual practice of expedient means. What kind of expedient means of gradual practice should we introduce to cause sentient beings to be eternally free from all illusions? Having said this, he prostrated fully to the ground. He asked this question 3 times in succession. Then the world-honored one, speaking to Samantabhra Bodhisattva, said, Excellent, excellent. Good son, you have well asked the Tathagata on behalf of the Bodhisattvas and the sentient beings of the degenerate age about the expedient stages of the practice of the Bodhisattvas as illusion samadhi. This practice enables all the sentient beings to gain freedom from illusion. Now listen well, and I shall explain it to you. Samantabhra received this teaching with great joy and reverence. All in the great assembly became silent and listened. Good sons, all sentient beings, various illusions are born from the perfectly enlightened, marvelous mind of the Tathagata, just like sky flowers come into existence from the sky. But even though the illusory flowers vanish, the nature of the sky is indestructible. The illusory mind of sentient beings also vanishes based on illusion, and while all illusions are utterly erased, the enlightened mind is unchanged. The use of illusion to speak of enlightenment is also called illusion. If you say there is enlightenment, you are free from illusion. If you say there is no enlightenment, this is the same thing. Therefore, the cessation of illusion is called unchanging. Good sons, all bodhisattvas and sentient beings of the degenerate age should separate from all illusory and false realms. By firmly abiding in separation from thought, You also separate from the thought of illusion. You also separate from the illusion of separation. You also separate from this separation from the illusion of separation. You will reach nothing to be separated from, which is the removal of all illusion. It is like making a fire with two sticks. The fire blazes and the wood is consumed. The ashes fly away and the smoke vanishes. Using illusion to remedy illusion is exactly like this. Yet even though all illusions are extinguished, you do not enter into nothingness. Good sons, when you know illusion, you will immediately be free. Without devising expedient means, freedom from illusion is in itself enlightenment. And there are no stages. All bodhisattvas and sentient beings of the degenerate age who practice like this will be permanently free from all illusion. Then the world-honored one, wanting to restate the gist of this, spoke a verse. He said, Samantabra, you should know the beginningless illusory ignorance of all sentient beings is all created from the perfectly enlightened mind of all the Tathagatas. It is just like the sky flowers, which have their appearance in relation to the sky. Though the sky flowers vanish, the sky has never changed. Illusion is born from enlightenment. In the cessation of illusion, enlightenment remains perfectly complete. This is because the enlightened mind is changeless. If these bodhisattvas and sentient beings of the degenerate age always appropriately separate from illusion, they will completely free themselves from it. Like the flame that springs from wood, the wood is consumed and the flame again disappears. If you are enlightened, then there are no stages of practice, nor is there such a thing as expedient means. So there's the first two chapters of the Perfect Enlightenment Sutra. I won't comment on it too much because we'll save that for maybe some future discussions. And hopefully I'll learn more about it as I take this class. You see the genre of these Mahayana sutras, similar to the Prajnaparamita sutras, along those same lines, probably among the same philosophers and early authors of these Mahayana sutras. So you see some recurrent themes there. Sunyata, emptiness, voidness, common themes throughout most of these early Prajnaparamita Sutra genre of sutras. So we see that. We see that these sutras were all spoken at a time when, or written about a time in which the Buddha was in a higher state of meditation, and that's when these conversations happen, was within the meditative states of the Buddha. Yeah, that's the way these are designed and developed in these Mahayana's genre of sutras. And as we read it, we'll try to see it in a non-dual sense and try to pick out the parts that make sense in a one Dharma scenario or a one Dharma understanding of the Buddhist teachings. So that's my goal, and I welcome you along with me, and I'll try to share this class as I take it, and and we will hopefully learn together. I've studied for many years the Pali Canon with my beloved teacher, Venerable Kemananda, but the study of Mahayana Sutras outside of the Prajnaparamita Sutras, I haven't studied before, and I look forward to studying these and learning how they apply to the Dharma as we practice it, both within the Western world and within my Zen order in particular. I look for the best that I can find from all sources, And that's what I hope to gain from this as well. So anyway, having said that, we will meditate for a while, probably not 30 minutes. I meditated earlier with my Zen class. How about we, since I read that for 20 minutes, how about we sit for 20 minutes now, and then we'll call it a night. Okay. So we set our timer to 20 minutes. Turn up the volume so we can hear the bells ring. And good. Now invite us all to sit for meditation. Thank you. Thank you for meditating with me this evening. As we do each night, we will end the night by a reading of the Bodhicitta prayer. And I'm still learning to use this, but I think I figured out how to share it. And I have. So here we go. Wow, I figured out how to share it. I'm so glad because I'm teaching my Zen class on Thursday and I need to be able to share these. So good. Okay, so here we go. The Bodhicitta prayer. With a wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Enthused by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind for full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain and dispel the miseries of the world. Again, thank you for joining me tonight, and I hope I'll see you again tomorrow night. Good night.